Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm live here. We're good? Okay. How we doing, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. It's great to be back in Winnipeg. She mentioned in 2019, coming off a Grey Cup, I'm a 24-year-old, leaving, going down to pursue my NFL dreams. I was 24 years old in my second year as a professional quarterback. Now being able to come here, going into my 7th year as a professional with a whole new perspective and mindset. It's just very exciting to be back in this city and share that with you guys. And I'm excited to be here today speaking with you guys. So thank you for having me. So we've kind of been touching on it this morning, what Winnipeg's about. And I've had, the last kind of 12 hours of getting into town of, coming back to reality and thinking about this place and why it's so special to me, because it is very special to me. And people that haven't spent time here, that are outside of this building, outside this city, they probably don't know much about it. And the reason it's such a special place to me, and again, it's already been hit on, is the people. The people. The amount of support that these people have given me throughout my career, it's been unwavering. And I'll get into my journey a little bit more as this goes on, but there's been a lot of ups and a lot of downs. And these people have rode with me, supported me, anything good, anything bad. I'm getting hundreds of comments, hundreds of fans reaching out. Every time I come back, I get in off my plane yesterday, and the dude at the border, he's like, "Oh, Chris Streveler, you're back? Like, we're so happy to have you back." Like, these are the type of people that are here, and that's why it's such a special place to me, and that's why I'm here. Like, that's why I came back here, because I want to bring awareness to what an amazing place this is, because not enough people know. When I go back to America, I live in Arizona. When I go back to Arizona, people are like, "Oh, what's Winnipeg like?" And the first thing I always say is, they got the best people. They got the best people. It might not be the #1 vacation destination. It might not be the same as Arizona, but you go up there, you're going to meet some amazing people. And that's why I'm here. That's why I love this place. All right. So I just want to give like a little bit of background about myself, because what I'm going to talk about today, aside from loving up on Winnipeg, is my own journey and my own mindset. And a lot of that journey and mindset is based around overcoming adversity, okay? And so just a little bit of background about me. I grew up in the Chicagoland area. I grew up in a small Chicago suburb about an hour northwest of the city called Crystal Lake. Went to Minnesota out of high school, University of Minnesota, played there, transferred, did my master's at the University of South Dakota, played my final 2 years there. And then from there, that's when I came to Winnipeg, played 2 seasons here, as mentioned before, won a championship in 2019. From there, went down to the NFL, played a couple years for the Cardinals, spent a little time with the Baltimore Ravens, had a cup of coffee with the Miami Dolphins, and then spent a couple years with the New York Jets. And now I'm back up in the CFL. So that's the spark notes of my career. And that's, when I think about my career and when people introduce me, that's what's always said. And I love it. I'm very proud of where I've been and what I've accomplished and where I'm going. But that's not the story of me. That doesn't describe my journey at all. My real journey has been filled with adversities. When I was in high school, I was a starter, junior year. I'm having a great season, all state. Could not get a scholarship offer. I had to go to probably 20 one-day camps just to get one offer out of high school. So I had to grind to get that offer. Get that offer to University of Minnesota, amazing accomplishment. So proud of myself. I get to Minnesota. I'm very excited about that opportunity. I end up starting a game. End up breaking the school record for rushing yards in a game as a quarterback. Have a good game, Big Ten Player of the Week. I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be my opportunity. I'm going to get to play at Minnesota. Never saw the field again. Did not see the field for another 2 years. And as I go through this journey, you're going to see the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs of this journey. You'll understand why overcoming adversity is so important to me. So, okay, disappointing at Minnesota. I don't get an opportunity there. I end up transferring. I go to South Dakota, have some success. My senior year, National Player of the Year, first team All-American, broke about every school record, had some really good success. And I'm thinking, okay, this is, I may have a chance at the NFL here. I go to my pro day, beat all the other quarterbacks and what would have been, the testing numbers, whatever that's worth, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a chance. Draft day comes. I have all my friends and family over. We're sitting around the last day. I'm thinking, okay, the phone's going to ring. Not a call. Next day, not a call. Next day, not a call. I go 3 days, I didn't hear anything. I didn't get anything from the NFL, not even a mini camp tryout. So that's when I came to the CFL. So thankful for that opportunity. I come up here, and the first day of camp, the backup quarterback retires. So now I'm kind of competing for the backup job. One thing leads to another. Matt Nichols ends up getting hurt towards the end of camp. I end up starting my first couple games, having some success. From there, I kind of have a role through the rest of the season. Next year, same thing happens. Matt kind of gets injured halfway through the year. I come in, I take over, I'm playing, and we're doing pretty well. We're heading into the playoffs, and going into during the second to last game of the regular season, I fractured my ankle and had a severe high ankle sprain. And, we're about to go into the playoffs. Devastating. So, obviously, I get the call from the trainer, hey, you're going to be out for the season, you're done. Devastating again. So, the next week kind of comes and goes, and I kind of make this decision, hey, I'm gonna try to come back and play through this injury. And so one thing leads to another. I'm starting rehab, I'm working, and I'm able to come back for the playoffs, play a pivotal role in that championship run, end up winning a championship. After that, I get some calls from NFL teams. Okay, come on down and try out. I go down, I try out for NFL teams. I end up signing with the Arizona Cardinals. Awesome. So I'm on that team. I end up making that team. I'm on the team for about a year and 12 weeks. I'm on the active roster. I'm the backup quarterback. No problem. Life's good. Going in 2 days before American Thanksgiving, which is important, I get a call from the head scout. And for anyone that knows football or professional sports, you're getting a call from the head scout unexpectedly. This is not a good call. And I wake up from a nap, mind you. I'm about to head to my mom's house for Thanksgiving. So hey, Glenn, what's up? Hey, Strev, I'm going to need you to go ahead and bring your iPad in tomorrow. Your stuff's going to be in a black garbage bag. We're going to go ahead and release you. So this is 12 weeks into the season. Like, we're deep in the season at this point. I get cut for the first time. And I really had to look in the mirror at that point because I've never been cut like this before. I've always kind of continued to work my way up and played. So that was the first time I got cut. So tough week, not the best Thanksgiving I've ever had. And so I over the course of that couple days, I get my mind right. And another phone call comes in. It's from Baltimore. Baltimore hits me up. Hey, we want to bring you in. We want to bring you in as our 3. It's a great opportunity for you. Awesome. I'm stoked. I totally changed my mind. I'm ready to go. All right, great. New opportunity in Baltimore. I get to Baltimore. The first week I'm there, Lamar Jackson gets hurt. So I'm like, oh, I'm the number 2. Like, I'm going to have a real chance here. Coming off the field Wednesday at practice, head coach pulls me aside and says, hey, tough situation for you. We're actually going to bring somebody else in. You're not really going to have a chance to play. At the end of that season, they end up releasing me. So now I've been cut for the second time in a span of 6 weeks. Okay, disappointing again. I get a call from the Miami Dolphins. Hey, Strev, we want you to come out. We really like you. We're going to work you out and hopefully sign you. Go out there, work out, sign with them. Awesome. I'm going to Miami. I got another opportunity. And for any of you guys that know, in the NFL, there's this thing called OTAs before camp. It's essentially like a 3-month period where you're kind of doing workouts, you're doing like routes on air, and it eventually ends in like you get like 15 practices at the end. So I'm in OTAs and I'm working and I'm getting better. I'm feeling comfortable with the offense, and draft day comes. And again, anyone who knows professional football, as a guy who's kind of a bubble guy, you're always looking at that ticker like, don't take a guy in my position. Please. 7th round comes and goes. There goes the Miami Dolphins picking a quarterback. 2 days later, I get the call. You're out of there. So now I've been cut my 3rd time in a span of, let's say, 4 months. So I'm sitting at home for a couple months. I'm like, all right, what do? I don't know. Phone rings again. Here's the New York Jets now. Hey, we want to bring you in. You're going to be our 4th, like kind of a camp arm, but you never know what opportunities could come. I'm like, all right. I'll take it. I'll take any opportunity at this point. I go in, and I have a pretty good preseason. I'll get into that part of it a little bit more later, but I had a really, really good preseason. The head coach himself at the end of the preseason was to the media, was like, that was one of the best preseasons I've ever seen. I'm like, awesome. I took advantage of my opportunity. I'm going to make the team. 22 hours after that press conference, hey, Strev, come bring your iPad in. We're going to let you go. So now I've been cut 4 times in a span of 6 months. So why do I say all that? Because y'all got to understand what my journey actually looks like so you can understand me and what I'm about. Because when you hear the highlights, and that's what football is, when you hear the highlights, you think, oh man, this dude's been in the NFL, he's been in the CFL, he's won championships. That's amazing, and it is amazing, and I'm thankful. But again, you got to understand the highs and lows of professional football to understand where I'm coming from. Hey, we really like you. You've been doing a great job. But we actually brought in 4 other people to do the exact same job as you. We're going to teach them to do the same exact job as you, and whoever does the best job this month is going to keep their job. That's the world. It's real. It's funny, but it's crazy, right? So that is the world that you live in. And so when you're in that type of world, you have to decide what's important to you, and you have to have values of what's important to you, because these other people in this business is not going to validate you. You have to understand what you're about. And so throughout all those situations I just described to you, I've essentially come up with 7 lessons that I've learned along the way of my journey that have helped me overcome that adversity and become stronger than I've ever been. Because for a lot of people, stuff like that, those type of adversities could be hard to bounce back from. But when you overcome adversity and you look it straight in the eye and you grow from that, you become stronger than ever. So I want to share these kind of 7 lessons and what they mean to me and stories along my journey that have kind of shaped these lessons in my mind and why I think they're so important. So the number 1 lesson I learned when I became a professional was have a process and stay consistent. There's growth in the journey. It's not always about the end goal. Just from trying to get from point A to point B, even if you don't get to point B, that's not a failure. You grew along the way of trying to accomplish a goal and working. And the only way you get from A to B is to have a process and stay consistent. And for any of you guys who know Winnipeg Blue Bombers football, Matt Nichols, he was the guy who first taught me how to be a professional, how to have a process, how to stay consistent. We used to call ourselves the 5 a.m. club. Every morning, we would meet in the little back corner of the football facility and watch tape together and talk through defenses and talk through the day for 2 hours every morning, 5 a.m. club. And we did this every single day. That man was never late. There was a couple mornings where I had to wipe the crust out my eyes and I was 5:45. I'm like, my bad, dude. He was there every day at 5 a.m. And so that's when I learned if you want to be great, if you want to be a professional, you got to have a process and stay consistent. Because over time, that adds up. Those 2 hours that I'm watching film extra every day, over the course of a season, that ends up to be thousands of hours. And that dude that wasn't doing it, I'm ahead of them now. And that's how you get ahead, especially for someone like myself who's not the most talented dude in the world. I don't roll out of bed as a 5-star recruit. I didn't go to Alabama. I wasn't highly recruited, whatever. Wasn't the first-round pick. I had to work. And so when you have that process and you stay consistent, that's how you grow. That's how you get from A to B. My number 2, every opportunity, say yes and take advantage. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And this is important for me because as a backup quarterback in the NFL, you might get 2-3 reps of practice. Seriously, like end of the period, Strev, go get one. Go get one. You got to be ready. There's no, oh, coach, let me warm up. There's no, oh, I only got 1 rep. If you don't do it, they're bringing the next guy in. So stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And when coach gives me that opportunity, I'm not going to say, oh, coach, 1 rep. No, I'm going to say, yes, sir, I'm ready to go. What play we running? I don't care if it's a handoff. I'm going to give the best handoff of my life. And so I think that can be applied in every single walk of life. Like you don't know when that opportunity is coming. You don't know what it looks like, but you got to say yes and you got to be ready. So work like that opportunity is coming. We have a saying, in football, prepare like you're the starter. And it's important as a backup, right? Because you don't know week 1, week 2, week 10, Grey Cup. You don't know when you're going to play, but you got to be preparing like you're the starter. Because when that opportunity knocks at your door, you got to be ready to answer. And that applies to all walks of life, not just football, everything. Number 3, when it's darkest, go harder and keep pushing. That means you're close. And this is something that's very near and dear to my heart because I want to go back to my situation with the New York Jets. I kind of briefly touched on it. So when I signed with the New York Jets after being released from the Cardinals, Ravens, and Dolphins, I got to camp. I'm excited for the opportunity. Okay, I don't know what it looks like, but I'm excited. I went 3 weeks, and I didn't get a single rep in practice. I did not get one play. The morning of the first preseason game, I wake up, and you guys that know football, Joe Flacco, he's in year 45 at this point. He's been, yeah. He wakes up, his back's a little bit tight. It's preseason 1. Like, this dude's a Super Bowl MVP. He don't need to play if his back's tight. So the coach calls me, hey, Strev, like, hey, Joe woke up, his back's kind of tight. You might get a rep here. You might play a little bit this game. Oh, amazing. Okay, cool. He's like, he kept it really open, and he was like, maybe. I'm like, okay. But whatever, I'm staying ready. So we get into the game. First quarter goes on. Zach Wilson, the starter, hurts his knee. He's out. Coach comes up to me, he says, Strev, you're going fourth quarter. I have not taken a rep. I have not taken one snap all of camp. But throughout that time, when it was dark, when I was thinking, what am I doing here? Why am I here right now? I haven't taken one snap. Like, I'm literally just waiting to get cut again. That was my thought process. Every single day, I had to dig deep and do the extra things to stay ready. What I did was I would run extra sprints every day to make sure I was conditioned. That way, if I got in, I wouldn't get tired. I would grab the other couple practice squad receiver dudes who weren't getting a ton of reps, and I would throw the extra routes that we threw in practice that I didn't get to throw because I didn't get any reps. And I did that day after day, and it was hard. It was hard. I didn't want to do it. But I had so many people behind me saying, you just can't give up. You can't give up. And so what happened? I go into that preseason game in the fourth quarter, throw 2 touchdown passes, throw a game-winning touchdown pass with 17 seconds left to win the game. Had not taken a rep. Amazing. Great. I'm excited. This is cool. Next week, same thing happens. I don't get a single rep in practice. Game time comes. We're struggling on offense. We're down like 10 points. Second drive of the third quarter, they go, hey, Strev, you're in the game. Again, not a practice rep. I go in that game, throw a couple more touchdown passes, lead a fourth quarter comeback. We end up winning that game. I'm like, all right, now I got to get some reps. They got to show me something. Next week, nothing. No reps in practice. So I'm obviously frustrated, but I stay with my process because it's proven to me that it works. Sure enough, game time comes. We're it's kind of a back and forth game. We're playing the Giants at home. And, 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. There you go. Go out, throw a touchdown pass. They go and score. I'm jogging back out on the field for the 2-minute drive. There's like a minute 30 left. The OC comes to my ear. He's like, let's just go do it again. Lead them down. 10 seconds left. Fourth down. Touchdown. Win the game. And I don't say that to brag on myself or anything like that. I say that because my entire thought process was, don't give up. It's dark. But if I stop going right now, I'd never be able to look in the mirror and accept that I just stopped, that I gave up. Because had I gotten frustrated, the first week of camp I didn't get a rep and I stopped working, I would have to look in that mirror every single day and say that you gave up, dude. You weren't ready for that opportunity because you gave up. And so I say all that just because whether it's football, whether it's life, whatever it is, when it's dark, you just got to keep pushing because that opportunity is on the other side of that. When it's the hardest, that's when you got to go do something. When you don't want to do it the most, that's when you have to do it because that's when that opportunity is right on the other side of that door. And I've learned that myself through my own frustrations and difficulties of overcoming those and staying ready and taking advantage. And it didn't even matter that I got released after that because I knew that I stayed ready and I did everything I could. And I was at peace with that. When they cut me, I said, there's nothing more I could have done. I worked my ass off every day, and I took advantage in the games, and that's just what happened. I can sleep at night because of that. Number 4, and obviously this one holds true as I'm telling you my journey right now. Adversity reveals true character. When things are bad, that's when you learn about yourself. It's easy to be a positive, great person, bubbly, when things are going your way. We all know those people that are front runners where it's like, oh man, you got the raise, you made the sale, you did this and that. They're the nicest person. But they have one bad day and they're down in the dumps. They're bringing everyone else's energy. Who are you when adversity hits? You got to ask yourself that. Am I bringing people up around me or am I bringing people down around me? And there's no better way to figure that out than when you've been cut 4 times in a matter of 6 months and you don't have a job and you're sitting at home wondering what's next. Who are you? Who are you? What am I about? Am I someone that's going to hang my head and pout and say, oh, I got done dirty, this and that? No. You got to bring other people up around you. And when you do that and people know, hey, man, this is a hard situation or bad things have happened, and they still see you pushing, still see you positive, still see you working hard, that tells them everything they need to know about you. So just understand that when things aren't going your way, people are looking to you to see how you're going to respond. So make that conscious effort of how am I going to respond? And I was reading a book by one of my good buddies with the Miami Dolphins. He wrote a book. It's a great book. And in the book, it's kind of all about adversity, and we're kind of cut from the same cloth. And the quote is, talent is your floor. Character creates your ceiling. Talent's the floor. You walk in the door with talent. You're born with that. You have that. But your character decides where you go. Your work ethic. How do you respond when things are bad? That decides where you're going to go. We all know people that are just better than us at certain things. Okay, how are you going to bridge that gap? You got to work harder. You got to do everything right. And guess what? When you're this person here, this person hasn't had to go through the things that you've had to go through to even get on their level. So guess what happens when things don't go this person's way? They're not going to know how to handle it. But this person that's had to start from here to get even to here, they're going to understand, hey, things haven't gone my way. I've been there before. I just keep pushing. I just keep pushing and elevating. So just because you're not the most talented person in the world or don't start at the top, that doesn't mean anything. You can cover ground just by simply all these things I've talked about, having a process, being consistent, working hard. So just understand that. Talent's the floor, man. The character is what sets your ceiling. Number 5, and this is something my dad has taught me from a young age, especially when things have not been going my way. Control what you can control, and we've all heard it. We've all heard that. But what can you control? What can you actually control? You can't control your opportunity sometimes. You can't control where you're at. You can't control a lot of things. But the 2 things you can control, your attitude and your work ethic. No one can take that away from you. No matter what happens to you, no one can dictate that for you. You get to decide who you want to be on a daily basis based on your attitude. And you get to decide how hard you want to work. No one can take that from you, no matter what happens. And again, those are things that you get to look in the mirror at the end of every day and say, am I the person I want to be? Did I work as hard as I possibly could today and do everything I could? And only you can answer that question. And that's the great thing about it. No one can take that from you. So always control what you can control. Number 6, focus on where your feet are. Don't worry about the outcome or what other people around you are doing. And I think that this one is maybe the most important in terms of the world that we live in today. Because it's all social media. It's all social media. Like, oh, what's this person doing? Oh, they have this, they bought this, they got this. Looking at what other people have or where they're going doesn't affect you. Everyone has their own process. They're all on their own journey. This whole thing, which was still, it was called the journey. Everyone's on their own specific journey. My journey is not the same as yours. It's not the same as that guy or that guy. I'm on my own path. And so it's so easy to get caught up in the who's who and the what's what right now with social media. But focus on you. Focus on where your feet are and making the most of that. And all that other stuff is going to take care of itself. And I like to use this example from my own career. When I was in the CFL, going into the 2019 playoff run and ultimate Grey Cup championship, about, let's say, 14 weeks into the season, I started getting calls from NFL teams that they wanted me to come down and work out after the season. I ultimately broke my ankle at the end of that season, which the advice of my agent and a lot of the people around me was, all right, dude, shut it down. Like, you have NFL tryouts coming out. Like, that's what's important. To me, that was not what was important. What was important was focusing on where I'm at and trying to help my team. And when I got to the CFL, I saw so many people that were worried about, okay, how am I going to get to the league? How am I going to get to the NFL? What am I going to do to get there? But those guys never made it. Why? Because they weren't focused on being the best CFL player they could be. So when I got to the CFL, I didn't even think about the NFL again. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever, that was a goal, but I'm in the CFL now. I get to live my dream. I'm playing professional football. I'm going to focus on being the best CFL quarterback I can be. And then once that NFL stuff started coming in, I was like, well, okay, well, that was on the back burner. I'm still focused on being here right now. And that's what got me there. I didn't get there by looking over my shoulder and saying, oh, is this going to get me to the NFL? Is this going to get me to the NFL? No. I was worried about being the best I could be for myself and my teammates right here. And that opportunity just presented itself. And I just think that that's so important because everyone is worried about, money and all these things. And if you just focus on where your feet are at and the opportunity right in front of you, you can get from A to B. You can get anywhere you want to. The final lesson I've learned along my journey, it's the simplest one. And again, my dad, he's been telling me this since day one. Good things happen to good people, and hard work always pays off. Good things happen to good people, and hard work always pays off. It's self-explanatory. What you put out there into the world is coming back to you. If I treat you good, and I treat others the way that I want to be treated, that's going to come back to me. If I walk around with a frown on my face and I'm not positive to be around, that's coming back to me too. And that hard work that you're putting in every single day, it's going to pay off. You don't know what that looks like. That's the great thing. You might be working for this, and this doesn't happen, but boom, this opportunity presents itself. And that hard work paid off. You just didn't know what it looked like. And so that's why I don't say hard work gets you to your goal. Hard work pays off. You don't know what that looks like because you don't know what the end journey could change, right? So just keep working hard and being good to people, and I promise good is going to come back your way. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for taking the time to listen to my journey, listen to my lessons. I'm really excited to be here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.